I am excited to report I have now got my Pimax Crystal Super review unit. Yes, I was given this headset for free. Yes, I might have to return this headset. However, I'm under no duress. I can say what I want. As always, I'm not paid to make this particular video by Pimax. I'm not paid to make any videos by Pimax, for the record. And I also just want to make it clear that any of the marketing or advertising messages that we're sent, we don't have to promote that. It's up to us whether or not we want to. I've seen on a couple of other YouTubers' videos where they're being flamed for posting some marketing messages for Pimax, and I'm about to do the same thing because I guess it's my job to share with you this sort of news. Otherwise, how else are we going to get that stuff out there? And the news from Pimax is this. They do have an offer on it, runs until the end of the year, and it is a trade-in on your old headsets. But I've got a slightly different take on it when it comes to VR headsets. The offer is between $40 and $100, depending on the headset version. And I'll put a link in the description and I'll put a list of all the headsets there. But know this, if you've looked after your VR headset and it's not complete dog shit on toast, I would clean it up and I would chuck it on Facebook Marketplace or your local online selling group and try and sell it. Lots of people out there can't afford the latest and greatest. I didn't used to be able to afford the latest and greatest toys. So I would always be on the secondhand market looking for opportunities that would come up, or you might even be buying something for the kids. So personally, I think for the trade-in amount that you can get, unless your headset is completely dog shit, I would try and sell it privately and put that money towards a Pimax Crystal Super, a Pimax Crystal Lite, or whatever it is you're wanting to get. But if the headset is really crap, at least there is that trade-in option, so you are going to get something for it. Now, with that out of the way, I want to say this. The Pimax Crystal Super, if you've got an RTX 5090, I know, I'm probably going to get beaten up in the comments because people want these kind of headsets to work with the lower spec hardware. The problem is this, it's high-end hardware. This headset is pushing a ridiculous resolution. And unless you're planning on upgrading your computer, I've got to be honest, there's no point in buying this headset. You might as well look at something else. And there's so many headset options out there now. But if you are wanting the sharpest possible visuals that you can get, these types of headsets is where it's at. So if you are planning to get an RTX 5090 or maybe even the RTX 5080 Super with 24 gig of RAM, that might be a compelling use case. So it'd be really interesting to see when that card comes out if that increase in video RAM is going to help this headset out, because it's these really high resolutions that just flog the VRAM. And that is one of the reasons the RTX 5090 does so well, and the RTX 4090 is still holding its own in those sorts of categories. So with that out of the way, this headset is absolutely bloody fantastic. I have dialed it in thanks to Steve, VR Flight Sim guy. I followed his how-to video on getting all the settings tuned in. I deviated from it a bit and I experimented because I do a lot of low-level bush flying, so I want the trees, the rocks, I want that stuff on high. But I've got to be honest, when it comes to this headset, you are getting such a high resolution, you don't actually need to lean on those graphics options as hard. Man, this thing is looking so damn good. The rocks are so clear. The trees from like 2,000, 3,000 feet, the trees, the clarity, it is absolutely wild. I sat in the cockpit on the tarmac, just looking at the airframe for ages, looking at the carpet, looking at the sand on the floor, and it is absolutely mind-blowing. Plus, I'm happy to see with the latest version of the PiPlay software, we've now got a slider for local dimming, and that for me is a game changer, but there is the option now for a wider FOV. However, that comes with a really big however. That wider FOV, my goodness, if you've ever used an 8KX or an 8K back in the day, I think everyone can agree. The vast majority of us, you would go cross-eyed using that headset, but you got used to it. And it was just one of those oddities. And I don't know if we were doing long-term damage to our eyes, but your eyes could adjust. It kind of feels like we've regressed back to the 8K, 8KX days where it was a struggle to get that headset dialed in. The wider FOV option now with the latest PiPlay software is really exciting because my gosh, what an increase. I have measured 135 odd degrees horizontal FOV. Now that's pretty crazy, considering that that was kind of the marketed FOV we were meant to get. I get everyone's eye shapes are different, but the fact that we are getting that with this wider FOV option is exciting because I'm hoping they're going to be able to tweak it, work the software, massage it a bit of black voodoo and get it to be really good. But I just couldn't get used to it. Now in game, it was profound. So sitting in the little bush plane, I can pretty much see out half of the door to my left. And this is a two-seater, so I'm on the left-hand side of this plane. And I couldn't see anything out of the right door. So it almost stopped at the windscreen's, I guess, A-pillar. Or is that, that's really car terminology, you know what I mean. When I switched it to the wider FOV, it was pretty mind-blowing. I could literally see halfway out the passenger's door. So that increase in FOV just gave me this incredible sense of immersion and I guess speed, especially when you're coming in for low level. So I really hope they can refine that and get it working, but it might work for some people out there, depending on your face shape, depending on your eyes, you might be able to get that to work. So I'm really excited to see these improvements in software. And speaking of software, I am really excited to announce the Say Intentions AI air traffic control for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020-2024 in the X-Plane series. If you've got a premium subscription, you have now got access to the traffic injection. And what is traffic injection? In essence, it's the AI ATC software being able to control the traffic that's in game. And I've had some cool experiences with it where you're literally coming in with the bush plane and you're being told to go around because there's some big jumbo 747 coming into land. The Say Intentions AI software is controlling those aircraft. So it actually knows where they are and can coordinate your flight plan based on what they're doing. So really cool. I've even had to stop short crossing a runway. Literally ATC has not cleared me to cross over there and there is a huge jumbo 747 just cruising past down the runway. I would have been squashed if I rolled out. So that level of immersion now that we've got access to as a premium subscription is really cool. Anyway, lots of exciting stuff happening. I'm really happy with where the Pimax Crystal Super is. I also want to touch on the quality control. When I got the review unit, I was happy to see that we're getting this stuff in the box, a checklist. And this kind of makes sense. These things are put together by hand. There's some robots involved in some areas, but it's easy to make a mistake. So the fact that they've gone through all of this, signed off on the bottom, same with this one here, the inspection sheet, and signed off that everything is okay. Hopefully that means less units are arriving to customers damaged, faulty, or maybe not damaged. That can happen in freight, but hopefully not. But certainly that they've checked everything to make sure that you're getting a headset that is good out of the factory. And hopefully the delivery timeframes are going to increase. There's a lot going on in the world. I'm sure everyone is aware. Hopefully delivery timeframes are going to increase. You're going to get your headsets because trust me, if you're into your simulation, it is a bloody good headset if you've got a powerful computer to run it. Enough flapping my gums because I've done a lot in this intro. Let's get into the video and let's show you the frames that I'm getting and the visual clarity that I'm experiencing with the Pimax Crystal Super in my rig, in the motion rig. Let's go. Right, let's get into my VR settings. So exposure compensation, I basically got that set to negative 0.2 and anti-aliasing is on TAA. It's probably recommended you do. You're going to get the most out of the foveated rendering in regards to that because you're getting the biggest uplift. It's not working from an upscaled image to start with. So TAA, if you've got a 5090, definitely put it on that. Render scaling is at 100, foveated rendering on, obviously. And look, your mileage may vary, but with this here, I've turned this down a little bit. I used to run it at 170, but with the Pimax Crystal Super, you've got such a high resolution, you really don't need to sharpen it that much. I have locked the max frame rate and set it at 45 because that's really the target we're trying to hit with the settings that Steve had. And reprojection's off. World scale, look, again, this is up to you, but I find world scale at 105 does make me feel like I'm the right scale sitting in these little bush planes. If you're flying big airliners and stuff, maybe you want to play with that. But for me, in the bush planes, that works great. NVIDIA reflex, low latency on. Dynamic settings, you want that off, otherwise it's going to custom scale the settings according to your frame rate. So terrain level of detail, play with this, and I followed what Steve said. 225 seems to work. I've tried to bump it to 250. It's diminishing returns. The more you tweak, the more you play, the more you start moving away from that target frame rate of 45 ideally, or at least in the high 30s. So off-screen terrain pre-caching, medium displacement mapping on, and the rest of the settings here I will just scroll through and let you digest at your leisure. There we have it. Now, there's some conjecture around fauna. I've had some people in previous videos say there's a bug with that, turn it off. I've mucked around with that. They might have fixed it in Sim Update 3, which I am running, but I find having that on high, it still works fine. I do want to see some of that stuff. And that's my settings for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let's have a quick look at the Pimax software. And it's pretty straightforward in here, but ideally, I'm running at 72 Hertz for Microsoft Flight Simulator because we're capping at 45 anyway, so there's no point running it at 90. And if we jump down to the eye tracking, I've got the auto IPD on. I kind of like that, but you can turn that off and then fix the target here if you want. Eye tracking's on, you do need to calibrate it. If you're having issues, just wipe out all the software, install the software from scratch, clear out all of the folders first, and then you should be good to go. And I'm pretty sure that's it for that section. We'll get into games, and you can see here render quality is on high. And here's the new large option that I was talking about. So it's really simple to turn that on. You just click that option there, click apply, and it's instant. You can see that in the Pimax home. You can see it anywhere you look. And again, I tried mucking around with my IPD to get it close, and you can get it close, but I've still got a lot of eye strain with it. So yeah, not working for me. I've got the Pimax Open XR quad views on. I don't have the Pimax Central Priority Rendering on. This is really an option, I believe, from my reading. If you don't have eye tracking in a game, you can turn this on to basically give you the fovation in the absence of having the eye tracking function built into the game. Could be wrong, correct me if I am, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is for. And preference in this case, I've just set it to balance, but I'm pretty sure the preference is handled from within Microsoft Flight Simulator when we make an adjustment to that config file. Smart smoothing off, lock to half frame rate off, a hidden area mask is ticked. It is by default anyway. Get into general. This is pretty standard sort of stuff. You know, you can tweak if you want to go into home or the default, but this is what I found was really cool. So the local dimming, we've now got a slider, and this was not an option that we had. So I think this is new, or I certainly couldn't find it in the last revision of the software, but this has made, for me anyway, a considerable difference just to be able to tweak that setting and fine tune the local dimming just a little bit more in the headset. Okay, so now let's touch on how you can adjust the foveated rendering in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's no slider, there's no options to adjust the circumference of how much foveation occurs, and it's pretty easy to do. If you're running Sim Update 3 beta, you'll already have it in there. If you don't, you can actually just put the line of text in and then adjust that as you want. The location of this can be different for everyone, so you'll need to know where to look for yours. In my case, it's in my C drive, and then we go users, command center, app data, and mine is in roaming. Cruise down to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, scroll down to my user config file, jump in here, and if we look down, there we go. So foveated rendering scale, that's where you can adjust it. By default, that's going to be set to 5. So you can adjust that to your heart's content, and you can even see some of the other options that it's picking up, like the world scale 105. So you can make adjustments in here as well. But 3 seems to be working great. And again, I've got Steve, VR Flight Sim Guy, to thank for this. I watched his video on it. So I know some of the community helped him out knowing where to change that setting. And the community, as always, comes through with the goods. So you can add that line into your config file if you are not running sim update 3, and that will take effect for you. But that means you're going to be able to get just a few extra frames out. And I've got to be honest, like Steve mentioned, I don't even notice it. When I'm flying and looking around with the eye tracking, I cannot see that that FOV ring unless I really try and look for it. But just in normal flying and my normal everyday, it's just not there. And the performance increase is profound. I mean, I'm sitting pretty good in high 30s, low 40s for nearly all of that gaming. Man, it is looking so good. It's taken a lot of tweaking, a lot of tutorials I've followed online to get to this point, but it is the best I have ever seen it. The fixed foveated rendering is working. We've got the eye tracking calibrated. I'm running the latest PiPlay software, and we are going to test out the wider field of view. Although I've done some testing earlier, and gosh, it reminds me of the 8K, 8KX days when you feel cross-eyed. So hopefully they can do some more work there. But yeah, the crossover is just too extreme, and it's really, yeah, it really does create quite a lot of eye strain. So anyway, we're at Queenstown, Tasmania in Australia, or I guess, you know, Tasmania is part of Australia, but it's a little island off from the mainland. And yeah, no set direction. We're just going to fly out over the mountains here. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and I've just been sitting in the cockpit here taking in the detail. It is just epic. The sand on the floor mats down there, the textures. Gosh, it's just incredible. The wording on the wheels, the bitumen out there, it just looks so good, and it is playing the smoothest that I have ever managed to get it in the Pimax Crystal Super. So let's go half laps. There's no tower here at Queenstown, but we'll just get traffic on the radio and make sure we are clear. Queenstown traffic, experimental Charlie Mike Bravo. We are departing out, runway 09er. All right, and powering on. Okay, and we are up. Okay, flaps up. Okay, let's talk about Mora. Let's talk about the visuals. Let's talk about the glass cockpit. I thought the kit fox that we're in now would be really good because we do have a glass cockpit in this thing. And wow, so comparing this to my friend Andrew, the Air Force pilot's Crystal Super, I was lucky enough to get my hands on that. I think there's been some tweaks done to the software because it is looking really good. Definitely there is no visible Mora when I'm in game. You can still see it when you go into the Steam home and look at certain buttons and dials, I find, but in game, certainly in Flight Sim 2024 at least, I'm just not seeing it when looking around the cockpit here. It is looking really clean. Glass cockpit is looking crystal clear. We're obviously running TAA as shown at the beginning of the video for my graphics settings, and that does help. Although DLSS is really good now, people are still complaining that they're just not happy with the way that looks. So hey, each to their own. I'm okay with it, but if you are struggling, at least glass cockpit with TAA is still the go-to. So we're just going to back off a little bit there. We're just overspeeding a fair bit. Got some low-level cloud cover here, but gosh, it is just looking beautiful. And I'm not sure what the FPS is at the moment. I'll have to look at that when I review the footage. But from all the testing I've done, we're probably sitting somewhere in the high 30s, low 40s, sitting around 45 sometimes. But this is buttery smooth. And look, for those that aren't familiar, when it comes to flight sims, especially Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you can get around that 40 frames mark, you're golden. She's looking good. And I mean, this is beautiful and smooth. I can move my head around the cockpit and I'm just not getting any stuttering. It's not getting any tearing. It's looking really, really good, and the visuals are just mind-blowing. Wow, it really is good. Obviously modded the headset. I've got the Studio Form crossover strap up the top there, and I have got my I've used 3D printed, but I've got little face gasket wedges just to help seal that face gasket around your face. Plus I've got some cable management just looped up to the top here to actually a couple of key fob lanyards that you could clip to your trousers or your belt or something, and I find they work really good with a hook in the ceiling just to keep the cable up out of the way. And weight really isn't too much of a factor when you've got the head strap and you've got all the comfort mods done. It works really good. If you've got a face shape that's going to support this face gasket well, then you don't really have a problem. But for me, I've got quite a narrow face, and I really just find that the standard gasket doesn't do me any justice. So, gosh, just taking in the resolution of those trees down there, and my gosh, the terrain, and look, ease of setup. It was really straightforward. My only recommendation, as always with anything new like this, is uninstall the old drivers. Don't just roll over the top, and get everything cleared out from the folder structure on your computer and reinstall fresh. I was having issues getting the eye tracking calibrated. It just would not calibrate. And once I uninstalled the PyPlay software, deleted the folders from my C drive, program files x86, so on and so forth, cleared out anything to do with PyTools, Pimax, reinstalled, and the calibration worked straight away first time. Wow, it's just so good. It is so good. We might just make our way down through this little valley to the right here and get down a little bit low. And yeah, the micro stutters in game, I'm not seeing anything there. It is just working really, really good. Running the latest NVIDIA drivers. Gosh, the detail, the colors, it is just looking really, really good. I've got the local dimming on the highest slider. I think that's something new that they've just added. As I say, I haven't had the Pimax Super for about a month and a bit now. My mate Andrew collected his headset, so I just haven't had anything to test with, but the addition of the ability to adjust the local dimming slider I'm really happy with, because yeah, that was something missing with the software when it first released, and or when the Super first released, and so the addition of that does really make a big difference to be able to tune that a little bit. And man, this is just looking so damn good. So we're going to take a pause in a second, and I'm going to switch to the wide FOV option that we've now got in the software, and see how long I can fly with it and what it's going to do for my cross-eyed because I think you could get used to it, but whether that's a good thing, I'm not sure if you're feeling eye strain. I have also tried playing around with adjusting it to the wider FOV in the lab settings, and then also adjusting what my actual IPD is with the IPD adjuster, thinking I could maybe compensate for it, and I felt like I could to a degree, but not to a point where it felt comfortable long term. So we might just active pause the game here for a second. Okay, and we're back in. Active pause is off. Oof, I gotta tell you, it is much wider, much wider. I have tested the width, and I'm getting about 135 degrees horizontal, but man, the eye strain, is pretty extreme. Yeah, just it might work for some. Maybe they'll be able to improve it, but for me right now, it is just not an option. Yeah, this is, it's a real shame because it is it is so much wider. It really is so much wider. I can see out the right side door there, about halfway along the door, and I can see out the left door as well while looking forward. So the sense of speed and the sense of immersion, I'm so much more in the VR world, but I just don't think you could get used to this. And when I take the headset off, my eyes hurt. So I don't think that's a good thing. Whereas in the standard or normal FOV, I could play for hours with this comfort setup, with the lanyard to retract the cable and the resolution. It doesn't hurt my eyes when I take the headset off. So yeah, that's telling me something. So I'm going to active pause again, and we're going to switch back to normal. Okay, back to normal FOV, which is still really, really good. The Super has got a wider FOV, and interestingly, so sitting here now, in this position here, I can see halfway out through the left door, so the width of the door, or the depth of the door, I can see halfway back and out, but looking dead ahead, I cannot see out the right door at all. So hopefully that gives you some perspective on how much wider the FOV is. So at that wider FOV, I can pretty much see the same out this side, but I can also see out the right door about halfway down its width. Yeah, hopefully they can fix that, but for me it is unplayable at the moment with that particular setting. So we might see if we can find a cheeky spot to come in for a bit of a bush landing and round this video out. Okay, I think we found a spot. Looks like we've got some flat ground and a bit of a clearing straight ahead on top of that. I guess it's a bit of a plateau really, so see if we can just wash off a bit of airspeed here. We'll just go half flaps. Oh, just can't get over how good it's playing. It was a real struggle initially with the Super. I really had to dial in some settings when I was trying out my friend's Super for the first time, but now 5090 Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, definitely a good CPU. I'm running a 9800X3D, and I have heard of some people getting some stutters and some tracking issues with anything less. So your mileage may vary. You might just need to turn the settings down more, but certainly with the setup that I'm running here, the experience is excellent. I am really having a good time. If you want my PC specs as well, it'll be in the description. It'll be interesting to see what the FPS counter looks like as I'm getting down closer here, but visually to me, I'm not noticing any increase in stuttering or anything like that. So, oh, we got some cars down there. Oh, the traffic just weaving through the road. I didn't even know there was a road down there. Oh man, this is good. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, we're gonna go full flaps. Just try and float her in. Oh, a little bumpy there. Or is it just the discoloration? Oh. Yeah, a few big bumps there I was just trying to avoid. Oh. Oh, yeah, we bounced off a bit of a mound there. Oop, 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 oop. Okay. Oh, this is not one of my best. Oh, daddy. We nearly nosedived it. But we are down. We are down. We might even jump out and have a little on-foot walk around just to see what the terrain looks like, and how everything's going to handle the graphics. But gosh, just the wind effect from the prop on on the grass there. So, all right, park brake is on, and let's jump out here. Oh man, this is playing buttery smooth. This really is. I cannot believe I'm in the Crystal Super and it's this smooth. You've got to do some tweaks to your settings, and big thanks to VR Flight Sim Guy. He's a champ for always getting those videos out, and I'd recommend following his settings. I played around a fair bit because I do a lot of bush flying. I tried to tweak the grass, the trees, and some of that stuff a bit harder, but every little bit you lean on, you're losing some FPS. And look, I've got to be honest, this is still looking great. Right, here we are. We're in the field of view test, and let's see what we get in the normal field of view. Okay, so we're on the red marker, and we'll look forward at the green. About there. About there. Right, what do we got? So we're just over 100. Okay, so I wasn't quite straight. Let's just try again, and we'll see if we can get that. So we're about there. About there. There we go. That's almost bang on. So we are just shy of 110 degrees for the horizontal FOV in the headset with the normal FOV setting. Now let's switch it to the wide FOV and see what we get. Okay, we're back in. So we'll stand on the mark. Here we go. So we're looking forward at the green dot. I've just lost sight of the blue one on the right and on the left. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, okay, that is a huge increase in FOV. So that's pretty much that's like 135, 100 and, oh, okay, so I wasn't quite straight there. I'm going to call it at 132 FOV. So that is a massive increase. However, I am really feeling the strain on my eyes. So unfortunately, in its current format, yes, it's a wider FOV, but I think it's unusable. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. It makes a big difference to the channel. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.